With the tax deadline approaching, suppose you try to file a tax form, but the IRS says a company has already done it for you. Then the company refuses to send you your refund until you pay a huge fee.
Sounds like a nightmare scenario. Sharyl Attkisson has more, and it turns out it's been happening to people across the country. That company is now facing federal charges of tax fraud.
Do you like green eggs and ham?
Like a lot of Americans, Lysandra Nash and her family have had some rough times.
I'm a single mother, struggling through some mishaps last year. I lost everything. So I'm in the process of trying to rebuild.
Pretty much all she had left to rebuild with was her job in customer service in Baltimore and the promise of a tax refund.
My main goal at the time was to get this money, help pay some bills, and do things for me and my two girls.
Lysandra went to a company called Instant Tax Service, which offers quick and easy cash loans in advance of income tax refunds. She applied for a loan and signed a stack of papers. Instant Tax Service, started in 2000, has been hailed as a top 10 black-run company. Many of its 1,200 locations nationwide are in low-income areas where needy customers are attracted by promises of fast cash. As it happens, Instant Tax turned down Nash's loan request, so she told them not to file her taxes. A few weeks later, she learned Instant Tax had filed her taxes electronically and instructed the IRS to send them the refund check, a check they planned to keep unless she coughed up $800 in fees, a third of her refund.
They used the information that I had put in for my loan.
They didn't even have your W-2 form.
No. I'm thinking, this can't be, because I know I said it, and I know I said it more than one time, and I know you were clear on it. And her words to me were, yeah, you did tell me not to, so why are they filed if I told you not to?
It turns out Instant Tax had included a tax form in the stack of loan papers Lysandra signed, which she admits she didn't read carefully. And the IRS doesn't require a W-2 form for e-filing. Lysandra is far from alone. Our CBS affiliates found similar complaints about Instant Tax in Houston.
Could y'all please exit the premises?
In no way, shape, or form was I ever advised that they were going to file my taxes for me.
And in Charlotte, North Carolina.
We're getting a runaround, doors slammed in her face.
A mob of angry Instant Tax customers.
They filed her taxes for her 2 days ago without her permission, without all her W-2 form.
The Better Business Bureau told us it's received more than 800 complaints about Instant Tax Service nationwide since 2009. Jody Thomas represents the Greater Maryland BBB.
How bad is this as far as consumers being allegedly victimized?
Consumers are alleging that their taxes are being filed without their consent. That's very serious. Consumers are alleging that the amount of fees that they're being charged was not fully disclosed, that fees are doubled and tripled what they were quoted.
We decided to pay a visit to the Instant Tax office in Baltimore that filed Lysandra's taxes. The employee on site locked the door and wouldn't answer.
All right. Ma'am, can I ask you a couple of questions? Can I ask you a few questions?
We watched through the window as she made calls and eventually turned out the lights and sat in the dark.
So they're not answering the door. They're not opening the door. Not going to talk to us today.
Instant Tax Service founder Fez Ogbazian wouldn't agree to an interview. In an email, he said, "We're not a fly-by-night company. We've prepared 500,000 tax returns in the past 3 years." As for taxes being filed without permission, he says it's an honest mistake and blames a switch in software companies. He says it's disheartening not to be allowed to have a year of adversities and obstacles for the first time ever. You might ask how all this can go on under the nose of the IRS. They wouldn't talk with us about any of it. And customers who called the IRS say they were told they're out of luck since their taxes had already been filed, even if it was without their permission. For Lysandra, the final insult was a call she got from a woman from Instant Tax Service Corporate Claims.
I understand that you're mad, but you can't be mad at anybody but yourself because you signed the papers.
I didn't pay as much attention as I would have if I weren't such in a hurry for it. So I do take that blame, but at no point should it be acceptable for business to take advantage. I was vulnerable, but I'm not stupid.
Sharyl Attkisson is here. So what happened to Instant Tax?
Well, since we shot that story, the Justice Department has filed a complaint against Instant Tax and Obazi and the founder, alleging pervasive tax fraud. They say basically what we said in the story, that the company was targeting low-income customers with false and deceptive means, getting them in the office, then filing their taxes without their knowledge or permission. And they estimate in 5 cities alone, 5 major cities, the fraud amounts to $16 million.
And LaShondra Nash?
Lysandra is trying to get some of her money back. To get the rest of her refund check, she had to agree to cough up $800 in fees for the filing she didn't even ask for. So she went home with $1,600, which was left, and she's trying to get her $800 back in small claims court.
And amazing that, as you said, the IRS wouldn't even talk to some of these people individually. Wow. Sharyl, thanks.